All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Kelvin Show. We got a lot to talk about, and we're gonna talk about some of the 10 biggest headlines that is happening in the stock market today. And some of the highlights we're gonna talk about is the next $1 trillion company said jump after chipmaker wins spots at S&P 500. And Google to pay SpaceX 920 million a month for the compute capacity at uh, XAI data center. And Pepsi is rolling out 41 driverless trucks holding Doritos. That's right, your Doritos will be delivered by driverless um, people, driverless trucks. So first topic is Marvell is officially joining the S&P 500. Uh, and because they are meeting a strict full quarter gap profitability hurdle. Historically, Marvel's massive acquisition and heavy research and development investment dragged down its gap net income despite strong revenue growth. Clearing this barrier is a symbolic rite of passage to join one of the kind of the elite group of S&P 500s. And after they announced, the stock just went soaring. And also, Nvidia CEO said that this is gonna be one of the companies that will be $1 trillion. Right now, its market cap is around 200 billion dollars. Let me know in the comment what you guys think about this kind of a CEO hyping up another company publicly saying that it's gonna be like $1 trillion company. And right now we are in an AI hype cycle, so anything that Jensen says is gonna be like a lot of people gonna keep an eye on, and they just gonna listen to him. And but you definitely want to do your own research on it. We got Amazon Corning signed a multi-billion-dollar deal to boost fiber optic manufacturing in the US. So the biggest bottleneck in modern AI data center is no longer just the compute chips, is the data transmission speed. When cluster of 100,000 GPUs train in the model, they must communicate with zero delay. Copper line cannot handle this volume without overheating and lagging. So this is why does this like matter so much? Well, Corning is the pioneer of advanced glass and fiber optics. Amazon's multi-billion-dollar commitment secure U.S. manufacturing capacity to wire its AWS data centers. And let's look at some of the I think about some of the economic footprints. So the deal is driving major domestic industrial growth, creating 1,000 high-skill facility and high-skill manufacturing jobs and hundreds of construction jobs at Corning's North Carolina facility. They are even partnering with Catawba Valley Community College to build a specialized pipeline of fiber optic technicians. So it's gonna create thousands of jobs. And so it is building a data center is not just about compute now, it's about kind of the communication piece that is coming with it. And Corning is one of the big players that will kind of help Amazon achieve its goals. Is that Google pays SpaceX 920 million a month for a compute capacity at XAI data center. So this is kind of incredibly structural flip. Google, traditionally an infrastructure titan that built its own custom TPUs, tensor processing units, chips, and data centers, is actively renting compute from Elon Musk, SpaceX. So why does this matter? Google is specifically cited this 920 million monthly agreement as an emergency bridge capacity to kind of satisfy this massive surge in corporate adoption for its um, enterprise agent platform. Gemini Enterprise demand has scaled faster than Google can physically construct its own properties. So, just kind of a little bit of context. So, XI is owned by SpaceX because of the merger, and SpaceX gained massive data centers, including its famous Colossal One mega cluster in Memphis, Tennessee. So, because XI internal compute utilization left kind of like a surplus, SpaceX is communicating these idle NVIDIA GPU is transforming a heavy capital expense into a massive cash machine. This contract looks in roughly like $30 billion in revenue, just ahead of SpaceX historic highly anticipated $1.75 trillion kind of IPO. So essentially, Elon Musk is saying that um, since we have a lot of compute left here, we are just gonna rent them out to sell the company since we're not using all the compute. So this is kind of like a short-term contract, in my opinion, because Google can essentially cancel the contract within 90 days of notice. So I think another company is also doing the same thing, is renting some compute capacity with XAI. So it's great that they're kind of getting some of the biggest names, for the hype. And another thing is Google own part of SpaceX, so it's a great way to hype out their stock price, and it's gonna be one of the biggest IPOs in the market for sure. So everybody's looking forward to it. I think it gonna go IPO around June 22nd. So keep it on. Next one we got Nvidia deepens and South Korea is tied to a new AI partnership. So in, um, Nvidia market supremacy depends entirely on the supply chain. Its H100 and Blackwell architecture require high bandwidth memories, the ultra-fast memory stack that sits directly alongside the GPU core. So why does this matter in the partnership? SK Hynix is the global vanguard of HBM by deepening linking like the partnership with Hynix and South Korea digital giant Lever. NVIDIA is ring fencing its hardware component access against kind of competitors. So it's just that he want to make sure that he get one of the best prices and secure the supplies. Um, Furthermore, just bringing in industrial heavyweight like Hyundai indicates that NVIDIA is laying down the computing architecture for the next major frontier, which is mass market autonomous and vehicle and industrial robotics. So they're never kind of, this AI age, right? Everybody is looking for supplies, and Nvidia is one of the most dominant players, and they just want to make sure that when the customer comes looking for some chips, they have enough supplies to make these custom chips that they design. So they runs a really deep partnership with the South Korean Hynix to make sure that everything is covered under the roof and make sure that when the customer comes, they have something to show. Pepsi Drive now runs 41 driverless trucks holding Doritos. So these are not the greatest looking trucks, but inside, if you look at it, there's no driver inside, right? Okay, and there's another picture. So, well, tech platforms have run localized trials for years. Like consumer good company has been slow to stray human driver entirely from active long haul supply chain due to liability. But Pepsi is breaking the mold by deploying 41 driverless cargo trucks directly into regional operations across Arizona, Texas, and Arkansas. By leveraging the long, flat Southwest Highway corridors, Pepsi can safely deploy this tech to offset persistent national commercial driver shortage. Since their Frito-Lay stack cargo, like the Dorito, is incredibly lightweight, it makes the perfect initial testing medium for autonomous flight before scaling up to a massive, heavier payload like liquid soda crates. So that is, I think, is a pretty big news. Um, you drive to the highway, right? There's so many like truck drivers there, right? And this is one of the last kind of frontier that autonomous drivers and vehicles is trying to solve. And if it can solve it, it will like even decrease decrease even more on the price. Like if you buy kind of like a Dorito chip, it used to be $3, now it's $2.60 or 50 cents. So really excited about this. And Pepsi rolling out 41 driverless truck holding kind of Doritos that is going to your house, delivered by robot thousands of miles away. And just keep an eye out for it. You might find a driver's truck in Arkansas. And Pepsi is not the only one that is kind of into this. Uber prepares London robotaxi. So Uber has shifted away from building its own expensive autonomous software opting instead to become the marketplace layer where all the tech fleet monetize it. So why does this matter? So Uber aligns with UK autonomous driving startup Wavy, brings random riders closer to a kind of driverless tipping point. Wavy utilizes its embodied AI philosophy, relying on end-to-end compute vision rather than hyper detailed, expensive HD map processing, making it unique, suited to navigate London's notoriously narrow, irregular, and complex street grid, opening the writer's signal that European regulators dreamer of fast-tracking approval for consumer deployment. So many places like China already have like a autonomous AI and driver kind of buses deployed into some streets. And one example will be Guangzhou, China. You can it's pretty normal to get like a driverless vehicle. Even in the United States, and Waymo is in Texas right now, and they're also expanding to Florida later this year and Arizona, and they also Tesla is also in it. So there's many different players, and Uber is massively trying to catch up with it with its own kind of um not capital expensive intensive venture, but like a platform to get all the drivers inside this driverless inside this platform. Next up, we got Anthropic. Anthropic giving out a kind of a dire warning urge industries to coordinate so to allow for a pause in AI development if risk grows. So AI, he thinks that AI needs to be more safeguard. So Anthropic was found by former OpenAI researchers specifically to focus on AI safety and alignment. This latest warning focuses on heavily on the looming point of recursive self-improvement, a theoretical threshold when AI system can analyze its own source code, identify weakness, and rewrite itself to be smarter without any human input. So he is the guy that kind of left OpenAI thinking that it's not safe and started its own AI, Anthropic. So why does this like matter so much? Because Anthropic push for industry-wide brake pedal highlights its severe philosophical friction in Silicon Valley. While infrastructure capital is flowing at record speed, as evidenced by Google and Amazon's mega deals with kind of SpaceX, the scientists building the actual algorithms are warning that global regulatory and security structure are completely unequipped to contain a runway software model. So essentially, like the essentially like Anthropic is kind of in the fear that AI is growing so fast that it might outsmart the humans. It can go undetected. It's pretty scary. There's a lot of movies where AI just becoming way smarter and smarter than humans, and drop a CEO saying that, hey, we just have to like come together and put a pause and think about this, like do like a brainstorm on how to safeguard the AI. But I don't know if that's even possible. Even though Anthropic is one of the biggest ones, but nobody is really slowing down because there's so much money. Look at SpaceX IPO, using majority of its funding, 70 billion funding to fund the kind of the data centers to continue and grow. Like if there's money, nobody want to slow down because the development. If United States slow down, what China gonna do? They're not gonna slow down. They're gonna continue to build the AI infrastructure. Next up, Honeywell. Honeywell as a kind of you buy Honeywell fans, ceiling fans, and AC units. But now Honeywell confirmed its 26 like profit guidance, and it also was spin off its aerospace as Honda. So Honeywell is officially into the kind of the aerospace business already by spinning it off. So industrial conglomerate are increasingly out of style on Wall Street. Modern institutions prefer pure play companies that focus on a single industry rather than like single entity managing everything from building materials to flight cockpit. So spinning off its premier aerospace division into a separate stock, HANA, on June 29 allowed the market to value the aviation business independently, which usually unlock hidden shareholder values, reaffirming a strong 2026 adjusted EPS guidance of $10 to $10.65. Signal investor to that the underlying business remain resilient despite the complex operation separation. Honeywell just want to make sure that it gets kind of like a better valuation, because nobody really wants a bundle kind of like Amazon. Amazon is into so many different business, right? You got the AWS, the fleet, kind of like FedEx, selling books, health, pharmacy, music. They just bundle everything together. Even though Amazon's AI, like AWS, is one of the fastest growing, but it's still kind of value as a kind of like a e-commerce, right? So Honeywell don't want that exact same kind of treatment. So that's why they spin off Hana. Is a aerospace company that hoping that in the future it will get better valuation. Number 9, UK competition watchdog launches prior into eBay's purchase of Depop. So, the UK Competition and Market Authority (CMA) has built a reputation as one of the world's most aggressive antitrust regulators, frequently challenging tech acquisitions. So, eBay's 1.2 billion play for Depop, originally owned by Etsy, was designed to capture the booming Gen Z secondhand fashion and resale market. The CNA investigation created deal frictions, highlighting that regulators' threats remain high for e-commerce mergers as government fear that tech consolidation choke out fair market choice. So one of the main kind of thing that they fear is like if merge with Depop, it create an unfair advantage for eBay. They want to create a fair market for eBay to compete with other smaller ones, smaller startups. And you don't want, like, if you merge all of them, it definitely will kill like smaller startups that is trying to survive kind of in the market. So we'll see what that happens. Last one for the day is Air as Starlink Internet. Wizz is a kind of more of an affordable airline, and now they're kind of adding Starlink. So ultra low cost carrier traditionally strip away all amenities, right? Yeah, you think of Spirit, and they don't really offer kind of peanuts or drinks, and they also strip Wi-Fi to keep the ticket price rock bottom. Since to this traditional satellite internet, however, is heavy, dynamically like disruptive and expensive to operate. But SpaceX starting aviation uses a low drag, low profile electronically steered antenna links to low Earth orbit satellites, slashing operational overhead. With Air adopting this cross is fixed by 2027, so that high-speed connectivity is becoming cheap enough to introduce even to the budget airline sector, opening up a lucrative new digital avenue for the airlines. So this is a great kind of step, because if you think about it, right, low airlines are adopting Starlink. That means that it's gaining wide mass adoption. This is a big win for the consumers, because you hop on an airline, 2 hours, you're sitting there, nothing to do. But what you want to do, just be on your phone, no internet. But with Starlink, you can finally watch a movie, finally browse, finally watch, go to X or watch a YouTube video. You don't have to download anything now. You can just open the internet and browse, and you can finally enjoy the internet. But yeah, that is about the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed the top 10 biggest headline for the day. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit this video thumbs up, and I plan to do like a daily kind of update on biggest news on the market. But yeah, this is Calvin, and I'll see you guys next one.